See, right there on the side, you got people on the side there, standing, pointing away. Okay. Yeah, and there's someone in there like texting in a blue shirt. Now, that could be because there's a shooting and that's a safe spot to be in and somebody can't see you. Maybe that's why you're doing that. Doesn't mean anything, but I'm just pointing that out because we have to gather evidence that we're never going to get from the feds. The second thing that I want to show you is what I just described, which is the clip of the person that I'm looking for who doesn't duck and calmly walks away. This is that individual. This is a front angle. You see that circle right there. We keep playing that. I've watched from other angles. Never goes down. Walks out of the bush. And I know that the police were looking for someone in a maroon shirt immediately after because somebody shared text messages with me that I did not publicize because I didn't want to. I just felt that it would go back to that source. Now, this individual I was able to discern was in a photo with somebody else who's caught my attention. Of course, the media began playing. They had all of these clips of what happened. And there was one individual who was Indian who they got a lot of the footage from that day from. And what's interesting about this guy, Samir, was very public. He's been covering everything. He was not a Charlie Kirk fan. He somehow has a lot of footage and somehow immediately gave this footage to the media. I reached out to him privately and I asked to have a conversation, asked to send his number, despite speaking with the media for weeks, giving them all of this footage. And despite oddly being allowed to interview Astrid Tumanez, I think a lot of people have done videos on Astrid Tumanez, the strange background story of Astrid Tumanez, the president of UVU. He didn't want to send me his number. I wanted to ask him basic questions. One of the questions I wanted to ask him was, hey, you are in a photo with this person in the maroon shirt from that day. He posted a photo with him and the guy in the maroon shirt. And he makes it clear that they both went to BYU. His friend, I would like to know who Samir's friend is on the left. That's who I'm looking for. You might recognize this individual. If you do, and again, we are not saying he's guilty of anything, but he might know if there was some activity in that bush. Okay. Moving on from the person in the maroon shirt, but sticking on to this topic of the bush, people also sent me a ton of information about Butch Hibbs, Jack Hibbs' brother, who was here. And he maybe might have been speaking to that bush. I don't know. But he wasn't the only person, by the way, who was in that bush before the event. Here's another photo that was sent to us of a guy. I don't know. Maybe he's comfortable in his bush. Who knows? Another guy in a maroon shirt. I never knew so many men loved maroon shirts. I never even knew that. But we have another guy in there. Again, he literally might just be sending a private text. I don't know. But people sent us that, and that's interesting. And on the topic of Butch Hibbs, we got a flurry of videos of him after this shooting takes place. He's kind of just like crawling the area. He's up and around where the shooting happened. With what clearance, I don't know. You would think that they had secured the area and nobody would be allowed to go in. They certainly seem to have crime scene tape, but some people were allowed in. He was. And beyond that, he is just acting what I would say is strange, generally being shady. And in this one clip, there's a guy who's talking to the media about what he heard and what he saw. And Butch is kind of just lingering in the background, almost as if he wants to know what that person is telling the media. I'm going to play that clip for you. You're going to see Butch in the background as another individual is being interviewed about what he heard and saw.
I don't know. It sounded like a higher caliber. It sounded like a higher caliber, like a 9mm. It didn't sound like a 45 or anything, but I don't know. It didn't sound that deep to me. It almost sounded like a cherry bomb.
Unbelievable.
It was a gunshot.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I'm in shock.
I am too. I can't believe it happened in Utah, of all places. Where he has so much support, but obviously the opposition was here. And now we're looking at a murder scene, possibly. It's obviously a crime scene. But I don't think that Charlie can survive this unless the EMTs were close, and it was pretty, rated R level kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No
Appreciate
problem.
your
You bet.
testimony.
You
there,
bet.
sir. Travel safe.
Thank you. You too.
Now, he may have just been hanging out trying to get a ride, calling an Uber, because I caught the video. We really just don't know. But I got to follow this faith feeling I have, this quote unquote faith feeling I have. And that's what I'm going to do. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow my every instinct in this until we figure out what happened on 9/10 and beyond that, right? This feels to me like so much is being revealed right now, and the linchpin of this is the Charlie Kirk assassination, and we are really understanding the way that our world works. I have in the back of my mind been wondering about this Bush. I have questions about that Bush that they said Butch was talking to. Again, I want to be clear. We see him near the bush by himself. We have no evidence to show that he was actually talking to the bush. These are eyewitness accounts on that day. And I just feel that maybe something may have been going on in that bush, right? Now, there is an individual that I have had questions about. And I have tried to discern through private means who this individual is, and I have had no luck. So I'm going to ask the public for help because he's had my attention for a while. Foremost, because throughout the event, I noticed that he was halfway standing in the bush. Obviously, I've looked at so much content, different angles, so many videos, and he's kind of partially in the bush. And I don't feel that it's necessary for him to be partially in the bush. It was not that crowded of an event. There was definitely space. The second thing that's compelling is that he's wearing a maroon shirt. And when Charlie goes down, he stood out to me because everyone ducks, but he just sort of keeps standing and seems to go inward into the bush and then out of the bush. And then I saw him from behind and he's very calm. He never ducks and then he sort of calmly walks away. Want to be clear, does not mean he's guilty of anything. But I'd like to speak to him because he might have some more insight as to what was going on in that bush. So first, regarding that bush, many of you guys emailed us and pointed to the fact that when the shooting happens, there's suddenly people on the side that are directing you, saying, go, 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 almost like they're actually maybe kind of protecting the bush. That might not be the circumstance, but we're going to show that clip anyway of a guy that does actually, as we looked, seem to be directing traffic away from the bush. Take a look at this.
I don't know who's been shot.